days of 15-minute meditation practice together. We did this last year, and I thought it was useful for me because the commitment to my practice was greater to do it at a very specific time, which I do not do any longer. I just do it when I wake up. And now the getting up to do the practice formalized it, I think, in a way that was beneficial to me. It really reminded me of retreat practice. I have to say, it became retreat practice because of my commitment to it, which was very strong, uh, with deep aspiration to really show up, because it wasn't just for me. And though it is always true, isn't it, that our practice is for all beings, the seeing the beings right in front of me every day had actually a somewhat of a profound impact, and certainly an impact I didn't expect. And so if you notice a certain kind of lagging commitment to practice, if there's somebody who doesn't notice it, please see me. I can straighten you out right away. If you notice that sometimes the practice is what we call dry or brittle or a little automatic, or I'm not sure why I sat there. I don't really know what the benefit that particular moment might have been. Is it really useful? And we all have, this is a part of the path for us all, by the way. So these are not broken uh, inquiries, these are the realities of uh, daily practice inquiry. And 15 minutes, says the science, as we have talked about before. 13 minutes is the number that says with that number of minutes, you are growing telomeres. You are growing um, neurocircuitry. You are strengthening positive qualities like patience, ease, stillness, calm, steadiness, trust, faith, patience. I don't know. I don't know if there's a pill we could take. Do you that could get us as much? And so starting on Friday, this Friday, I will be there on Friday. We will start. Carrie will be starting for us on Wednesdays. Jim will be starting for us on Mondays. And maybe we'll get somebody to drop in on a Friday here and there. Maybe some of the Sangha would like to come on and ring the bell uh, for us. So there it is. I want us all to make that commitment. Whether you can then be here or not be here, or get online every day at 7 or 7:05 is when we'll strike the bell, or not, is not as important, though it will be a support to you that I want you to try to get to. But the commitment is to that. I think last year I couldn't find my notes on it, but last year I think I charged everybody who couldn't get here. And I loved the idea. It's kind of like don't be an asshole jar. It was a little similar. If you couldn't get on screen, you gave me a buck. Uh, and that's okay, because then I'm going to give all those bucks to Elder Help in the month of January. So because we have not had enough time uh, in the remainder of the year, we're going to go ahead and see what we can do. We've already got the $2,000. We'll see what we can match before the 31st, which is, oh, by the way, tomorrow. We have to get it to them tomorrow uh, to get that double match, which would quadruple our offering. So anybody who has any interest and aspiration to contribute to Elder Help, please do so. Then in the whole month of January, I will be donating the Dana that comes to me through Patreon, through you all, through the box, to Deb and Elder Help as well to get us going. And in that time, we're also then hoping, by the way, that we can develop a few volunteer opportunities. What can we do here in North County that can be of benefit? And I'm going to say at the minimum, I think that's going to be a drive. I think it's going to be, can you get that person, can you get them to 477 building where they'd otherwise have to be on a bus for way too long? And I think the answer will be yes, we can. Jessica and I are going to be working this Friday on a sign up. I don't know how it's taken us this long to get to a sign up sheet, but it has. But we're going to work it out this year. That'll be both on the website. You'll know how to get to it so that when you go, I've got that time free, or I want to go to that North County Vista San Diego Food Bank distribution commitment that we're doing on the 22nd, for example, you'll be able to go right there and sign up. And then we're going to make sure that you know how to sign up in any other way that you need, because signing up with us tells us you're interested. However, then there is you've got to go sign up at San Diego Food Bank. We'll try to get some links and stuff up there. Okay, so look at this big year. Today we're going to be talking about one of my least favorite topics. I would say karma and rebirth are pieces of cake for this one, for me. One, because it's not the relationship I have. Let me begin there. It was not. It was also. Let me state it. It was the relationship I had with my teacher in many ways, and it was not the relationship that I had with my teacher and teachers, because there have been many, in other ways. And so I'm going to talk honestly about where the level of devotion, what that really means, which is not the same as I think we sometimes imply, because often devotion, as we have talked about before, haven't we, can look a little too blind, can look a little too undiscerning, can look a little too based on wishes, hopes, ego, in a way that actually has resulted both in my community at the Zen Center of San Diego and in many other communities that I have been associated with abuses. And that abuse can only happen once this idea of devotion climbs to another side. And through a whole different window. I did not have that with my root teacher, Joko Beck. She did not invite it. She was like, pay attention for yourself, stop looking at me, kind of thing. She was very clear about that. And that was because abuses had happened in her family. Her own daughter was abused sexually. It's a well-known truth now. This is not gossip, by her teacher. And as a result of that, she left that entire lineage, started the Ordinary Mind lineage here in San Diego, and then became militant about not falsely following anything, anyone, or any ceremony ever. And so I will tell you the story about my first encounter with her. Was that in a Zen center, many of you may or may not know that there is a lot of bowing. We will say infinite amounts of bowing. You're bowing to the center, you're bowing to the sides. As you get up, you bow. And it's both beautiful and taxing. And I was there for the first time. I had missed the orientation. For some reason, I do not recollect. And so I was bowing all over the place. I was falling on myself. Somebody asked if I wanted to light the incense. I froze because I don't even know why. And she was very clear. I had to raise my hand about this, by the way, during the talk. I said, I'm not sure what we're bowing to, why we're bowing, and what the lighting, I don't know. And she was lit and said, never bow to a thing, a person, never light a candle, that you do not know yourself why you are lighting it. That was my first instruction. And that has stayed with me. And you notice I only rarely do ceremony. It's very ad lib. It's not concrete. You always got to go to the left and then you go to the right because you have to feel. It's more important to me that, like Joko herself, you feel your way. And I will always be a guide. Always. I'll always say, well, here's what's in the tradition, and that's the reason. And if that has meaning for you, which, by the way, in the Zen tradition, it rarely did have meaning for me. I did not need to bow in the four directions. It didn't have particular meaning. It was a little confusing. It was like, is it east first? I think it's east first. Norma Jean, my partner, and I would fumble over each other because we both turn into each other for half of the bows. Joko found that humorous in the long run, and then kept saying, but they keep trying. You know, there's something kind of beautiful in the try, even if you're never going to bow the right way. I could never get up fast enough for the fast walking during um, the intermissions. Wasn't good at it. By the way, it didn't have much to do with her sense of my capability. Uh, and she, in the long run, said, you are a good student because you don't believe you know enough. Because you don't believe it, which is great because you have to keep studying, you have to keep reflecting, you have to keep meditating, you have to keep living it. And so don't ever get where you think you know so much that you stop any of that. I hear that today. So when I think of teacher, I think we can all imagine somebody who has already arrived, who is already uh, vastly masterful and accomplished. That was never my sense of Joko either. But I did pick up something in her, and I think you would pick it up in me. I am fervently committed to continuing to try. And if you miss that in me, you're probably looking somewhere else. Because what you will see is that then again, I'm going to try to get it. And then again, I'm going to look at it. And then again, I'm going to be honest about it. And then again, I can fail a billion times. This is not a problem. And that's what she valued. I think most of me was I was a very honest failure. I don't think it was because I was particularly successful. I think I failed well, one might even say. Like, yeah, I see where that went wrong. I see how that didn't work out. I see what you meant when you said it's always going to be about you. It's never going to be about anybody else. Why are you looking out there? Uh, which turned out to make all the difference in my life, all the difference in my life. And by the way, she was a little bit rude and a little bit dry and a little bit not very conventional, I would say, and would do really crazy things like pick her nose when she got bored with what you said. Uh, it was a real thing. And I knew she loved me. Because there wasn't a moment where I said, what about this, that she didn't reflect on a real answer. I never got blown off. It was never, you're just an idiot, forget about it. Uh, and I love her as well for that. I don't know of any relationship, including my lovely grandmother, of anyone who did that with such agency. Like, I'm going to be there for this always. And I could count on her, even when she had moved and wasn't as clear seeing as she was in the years that I was with her. So I wanted to tell you that because I think we can, I think we are mistaken. I think we elevate others in our culture um, primarily for ego driven reasons. One, I think it can be the teacher's ego, um, and then I think it can be yours. Because then it can be, well, if I'm close to the teacher, if I have a relation, everyone does, but right, something special, and then we look for the special, then I'm good. We mistake that for our um, attribute. Um, and so I want us to be careful about that. There is no such thing for me as someone more worthy or less deserving of the Dharma of my time. It does not exist. And I really, really mean that. And if you ever think you see evidence for that, please let me know. Because that I either have to correct something or I can at least try to correct somebody's perception. That will not occur. In fact, what I think happens here in our Sangha is everyone's a little too protective of me. Well, we don't want to bug you. We don't want to ask. We don't want to. Well, that's why I'm here. That's my commitment to you. And so I want you to know that that's my purpose here is for that. It has nothing to do with money or status or title at all. Um, in fact, I love the term spiritual friend. Kalyana Mita, spiritual friend and friends, because I'm walking with you. I am not sitting somewhere watching you walk. And again, if there's confusion about that, let's get it clear. And then, just to go to another side for a moment, and then there is the truth that I know more than you. And it is certain. And I'm not saying that from an egoic place. I'm saying that from 30 years in study place. I read the Dharma every single day. You do not. And if you do, you're doing it right here and there for good reasons, always, right? And I reflect on it every single day. And I'm looking at what is it I need to be, and how does the Dharma, is it an evidence here every day? And so after 30 years, I probably have a few more of those moments than you at the minimum. And then want to share what I know about it so that you don't make the mistakes I made. My very first one, I talk about it a lot, was thinking if I did this well enough, all suffering would go away. It didn't turn out to be true. What turned out to be true was that I saw the suffering, I felt the suffering, and then I could see where the cause was, and it was always right here in the quality of my own heart mind. And boy, what a beautiful, if I got nothing else, how beautiful is that agency that I knew that it was something I needed to work with, understand better, adapt, grow skills in, let go of, whatever the thing. Uh, and I'm not confused today. I'm not confused today about that either. So when you say to me, today was a shit show, what I'm probably going to say to you was, how do you think you contributed to that beyond the difficult conditions that are in this life? And they are, it is true, right? There is aging, illness, and death right here. There is disappointment. There is distrust. There are people who let us down. There is dishonesty. This is a part of our human experience. So I'm never going to say that didn't happen. I'm going to say what happened isn't the point every time. Because I know it for me. It isn't the point. It doesn't matter how dumb Al just got. By the way, it's how dumb I got after he got dumb. That's really the point. And I keep noticing how amazing it is that I can still do it after a lot of years and actually knowing completely that there's no benefit here, not to me or him. And then I get to pay attention to old habits that die hard. Okay, we're going to read that aspiration in a minute. But let's go take a look at the notes. I've already said some of them. I just want to look at a few. We're going to break this chapter 7, the spiritual teacher, into parts because there was like 40 something.
36.
It was a lot of pages. And so, right as I was reading it, I was like, whoa, this thing just, I didn't think he made that many points. I will tell you honestly, this is, again, not for me personally, a meaty chapter. It was a long chapter, but I think that came out of Kempo's devotion. And couldn't you feel that in the chapter? Like his true love of his teachers and the meaning they held for him and was just beautiful in its evidence in that chapter. And for me, that might have been the point. The other things, how many 8 ways to fail and 9 ways to be successful. Remember, our lists are always helpful for short course. Like, right? It would be some of that. So here's what I say about the spiritual, why this idea of a spiritual friend or a spiritual teacher matters. Uh, Number one, we have to remember that the path, not just the bodhisattva path, but the path to freedom, to happiness, to ease is never singular. It is never just you. And unfortunately, when we practice primarily alone a lot, it's very easy to get into a level of arrogance around, well, this is me doing a good thing for me, and maybe even then a good thing for others. But I think being a part of a community or the Sangha, of which a spiritual teacher or a spiritual friend is a part, is very important because everyone there is working towards the same end of suffering. Everyone there is human, experiencing the truth of our human vulnerabilities and strengths and resilience. And everyone has a slightly different tone, tenor, fabric, texture to it. And our ability to open to that is very useful, right? As well as to recognize differences and that the differences are also useful. We were talking on Saturday, and Kelly said, I'm a smiler and I like to smile. And that's very evident. If you know Kelly at all, you would know that to be her. And she has a gorgeous smile to boot. And the truth is, that's somewhat conditioned. That's a part of, I learned how to do that. I learned that I got good things when I did that. I learned how much to do that by a culture and a society that supports and wants that from her, right? And so we were playing with that a little bit. Just look at, yes, it is true, and it is likely not totally you. It is likely also a conditioned dynamic. Can we look at those things in us, both the part of us that goes, that really is a response, versus that's just what you do because that's, I get good things when I do it, generally. And that's just one example, isn't it? Not a complex one. And really looking at that deeply is always useful because we often define ourselves, in fact, by traits that are actually born out of habits. And it's very easy to do. Uh, I'm a this, you're that, and mistaking the acculturation, the habit formation as the other. And what do we know about this? We'll always get in trouble because eventually, as all habits are true, it won't be there. And then we'll go, wait a minute, what happened? I thought you were always going to be on my side till you weren't. And the truth is, it is not necessarily true that when someone's on your side, they're always on your side. I love the truth that in the spiritual friend relationship, that will be true, is that they're always going to be on your side, as I am, even when you didn't like what I said, which is also going to be potentially true. So it's never solitary, it's never alone. Uh, Sangha is one of the triple gems, it's essential. And so having right relationship with others who are committed in a similar way to you is very important. Because who are you going to do this work with then? Who are you going to do these practices with? And yes, it is also true. I'm doing this then every moment with others, but we're doing this on purpose with each other, where we go, how did it work out? Did it go? Did it not go? How did that work? What's your insight about that? What was your inquiry? What was mine? And we grow each other in a much deeper, broader way from those very conversations. You're probably not having those with everyone, by the way. I wrote here that spiritual teacher is not an authority who grants you uh, boing, like my Glenda the Good Witch, bing, you've made it, bing, you've made it, bing, you haven't made it. And neither do I or any other teacher ever define uh, enlightenment. So if anyone says to you, I am enlightened, or you are enlightened, other than in that most general sense of our shared capacity for that in every single moment, as we talk about, don't we? We have to be careful. Joko was very clear that she was not enlightened and she had not seen anyone who was enlightened, and she'd met some very great masters, including Suzuki Roshi and others, but she said they have been very helpful on my path. Very, very helpful and often wise, skillful, had some understanding that could be of benefit, and then ultimately were guides for her. I believe all of it is true. This other thing, then, that I will say, since I'm here, I don't know if it's written here, let me look, is that I think a teacher can be a model a bit. You know, like an advanced student in something can do a thing in a way that has a certain finesse or skill, or has become a part of them, maybe in a way that you go, oh, that can get sewn in over time. Even if it's not mine yet, uh, there is potential uh, for also me in this. And again, my fervency and commitment to the Dharma, uh, that being throughout all things, it would be an example of that. And then you can use the spiritual friend as I see the benefit right there. And then I'm noticing right there, as I did in Joko, that she was not suffering in times where others suffered. She did not suffer. She was like, this is part of the deal. This is what you're going to go through. And I was always inspired by that. Like, you've got 4 kids, 3 of them don't talk to you. That she did not see that as personal, actually, at all. And she understood it by virtue of what had happened. That somebody would say that was your fault, and she understood it. And very likely even took some responsibility for the wrongdoing that had happened. What's interesting to me about that is that it went on and continued in her lineage. And so this is the way these insidious things, isn't that funny? They can play out without anybody's really, even when we think we've got the bright light shining on it, there's something else. And I talk about that a lot. An example being that doubt that I felt on that plane to New Zealand. Right there it was. I would have said, I'm not a doubter. I have no doubt in the practices, the teachings. But there was still doubt in me of me. And I don't make contact with that very often. And there I was on that plane going, uh-oh, I have not batted 1,000 in this thing. And if I die now, there's some things left undone. And right, shards, just little things that we pull up like splinters buried deep. It's happening actually all the time. And so we want to celebrate that, I think. Like, I was thinking I was kind of getting it pretty good. And then their doubt was in such a beautiful, clear seeing way that I could then attend lovingly, compassionately, uh, in the end, skillfully to that, to look at. I didn't actually have to get it all right. It would actually have been more important that I could acknowledge where it wasn't and then take some actions to do it better or to correct it or to understand it and to keep doing it, right? As we say in mindfulness teachings, like water dripping on rock, this is the shaping of a bodhisattva. It is not bang and then you're there. Without guidance, it says that practitioners are vulnerable, absolutely, in a huge way, to subtle forms of confusion, not always so subtle, I might add. When we read the books, you can see how easy it would be, wouldn't it, to fall into some kind of absolutism about what's being written. You've always got to do it this way. You can never do it that way. And sometimes the language can be very polarizing in a way that we go, I'm just screwed here. There's no way for me on this path. And it's never true. It's just the way it got presented by that writer. And it is the job of a good spiritual friend or teacher to say, wait a minute, you are going to fail consistently. But that's not the problem. That's the path. And without that, you could go forget about it because I'm never going to get this right. And we have it happen a lot. We have that self-judgment a lot. We have the I just don't get it. What's the point? A lot. And it's always wrong. And so you need somebody to go, wait a minute, you're a little confused. You were never going to bat it out of the park, not even when you're consistently committed to a set of vows. Even then, you're not. I appreciate the teachers who are honest about that for themselves and then for others. What a spiritual teacher friend is and is not. What they are not is a perfect being. I wrote, that's good news. No hope for that in me. By the way, not an aspiration of mine. I actually am not shooting for perfection. I am shooting for 85+% good enough. That's about it. I don't believe that this, how do I say this? When I would ski, I'm going to use my skiing. When I would ski, I never fell. I never fell. I could ski, and I skied about 15 years actively. Other than somebody pushing me to a place I didn't belong, which was unfortunately too often. Thank you, Doug Hoffman, who helped me tear parts of my body. Let's go over here. And I wasn't capable. Consequently, it wasn't skillful. Right? This isn't helpful either. I never fell, and I never fell because I never pushed it. I just rested in the skills I had, which was good enough for me. I was not looking to be an Olympian skier. I loved the sound of the swishing snow and the beauty around me. That was more than good enough. But I had no aspiration. And the lack of the aspiration didn't grow anything other than the joy of the moment, which was more than pleasant, and being with family and friends, amazing, right? But really, I didn't set any intention or aspiration for getting any better. And consequently, I didn't. I just rested in the little bit I had. It was more than good enough for me. It will not be sufficient on the spiritual path. It will not work out well for you. We have to be consistently committed to looking, to inquiring, to adjusting, to being skillful over and over and over, because this is going to be the whole of your life, just there, and then how much suffering there is or isn't in it as it relates to now and now, and then now. And so we want to keep staying in wakefulness, in attunement, in open-heartedness, and that takes practice. And you need buddies on that path. There is no teacher that is an infallible authority. Actually, I laugh a lot because some teachers, and I'll name Stephen Batchelor, who I've sat with several times, this guy is the smartest guy, maybe next to Tan Jeff up in Valley Center. He knows every line of the sutta. Literally, it just can rattle it. And he's a scholar in this way. It just blows my mind. And he talks openly about failing on the path every single day with all that knowledge and all that memorization and all that translated. They translate this stuff. They're Pali scholars, these guys. All that wisdom and bang, just right. And then we get to check our own projections, which is another part of the problem on the spiritual teacher path, that we believe somehow they, whoever they is supposed to be perfect or right, not never true because they're human too, and then yet masterful is true, has a skill that is in evidence, has a wisdom that is in evidence. If you don't see it, be cautious. Um, I was sitting with Carrie. I think Carrie's on. Yeah. Carrie, remember we were sitting at, I think it was La Paloma. I can't remember the theater Carrie and I are in. And we're sitting there preparing to listen to Sogyal Rinpoche. Carrie, do you remember
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
And I'm getting a bad feeling, and I think Carrie's getting, and we're now looking at each other and looking at his students. Remember this, Carrie?
hmm
And I know that we're saying something's not right here. And I said, I don't like the way his senior students are relating to him. They were cowering, remember, uh,
yep,
a little too reactive.
kind,
They get me the water,
yeah,
a lot of distress and intensity. And I said, this is not right. And I've got goosebumps now. My hair's up on my hand. I went, something's wrong. Well, it's what, a couple years later, maybe,
correct. Not even two.
that we come to understand that he is abusive, that it's physical and other, that the community now is coming forward to say this has been going on for 40 years, not for four. And I had to use, as Carrie had to use, our own right understanding. Something not quite right here. Now, I couldn't have said what it was. I would have never gone so far as to say at that day and time he's abusive because I couldn't know that. That would have been unskillful. And I could easily say there is a dynamic here that I am concerned about. I had no further inquiry potential for that, though the question stayed large. And then what? Well, you have to be able and willing to use what? Yourself. Yourself. It is deserving of inquiry. It is deserving of examination, isn't it? Just like that. Something not right. I knew it wasn't right, just like Carrie did, because Carrie and I did not walk in with preference. We didn't go, we heard he's a jerk and then see evidence for it. We were there really benevolently, really open heartedly for the teachings, and yet something didn't feel right. Always listen to that. Always listen to that. Uh, your own authority in these teachings, it says, is most important. You have to use you. You cannot then just give that away to anything, a community, a teacher, uh, or even what you think the teachings are saying without that inquiry. So, does everybody agree to that? You never, never, ever do anything that doesn't feel right for you without further inquiry. Again, Carrie and I walked out going, we never saw him again, Carrie, I don't think, did we?
No, no,
He never
no,
came back.
he never did.
I think,
Now he never will.
and now he never will. He has since died, and he died in shame. He died having been kicked out of removed from the community, um, unfortunately, because also a certain wisdom. But you cannot take wisdom with that consequence, can you? No matter how brilliant the person, if there's harm being caused, this is it. That's it. There is no but then at all. And it's happened significantly in the yoga community and others. So if you ever get that feeling with me, I want you to say something to somebody. And I really mean it. If you go, she's abusive, or boy, people were hopping around when she talked, tell somebody, the board or somebody else, because that is the right action. And we will sort it out together. Uh, Not every one of my jokes is funny. It is true. I may not get the 5-star Rotten Tomato rating for all Dharma talks. This is just expected, reasonable. But if you go, something's critically wrong, that's a different thing. And we are always going to be open to the inquiry of that, as is the board, as is the board's commitment, just so you know, to that. I would immediately be removed, put aside until that got cleared up, so that no harm could be caused. And that's a right thing. That's a right thing. Someone once made a statement. I'll use another example and then we'll go on. Someone made a statement to me that was slightly sexualized. It was a person who had a slight habit for it as well. I didn't like the comment. It didn't feel good to me, but I didn't do enough about it. I did not. I just let it go as a one-off, right? You just made the dumb statement. I don't respond. I think we're good. And then I see that person a couple years later, and he's doing it again. But he's not doing it to me now. Now he's doing it to the people I'm with. And once again, Carrie, I think you were there, weren't you? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were.
Mm.
And now I'm like, not okay. Not okay. Now, for me, it still wasn't okay, but I didn't respond and didn't feel disempowered by it, so I blew it off. Except now there's a doing it with 3 people in the room. Uh, Sisters, I call them. No. And so I write the letter, and the letter says, not acceptable. You may not do that. That's never going to be okay. And if you, right? And there's no response. And still important, isn't it? It's still important because that's the Dharma. If we are not all safe, at the minimum, we cannot be a Sangha. The spiritual friend's job is to ensure that safety. If there is nothing else, let's say not a drop of wisdom, not safety, that you will be safe here. And you can count on me for that. And I am fearless as it relates to that safety. And you can count on me for that as that day. Like, no, we're not making ridiculous remarks about who's sleeping with who. No, not workable. And that's what you can trust. That's what you can trust. Will I always get the sutta right? Probably not. Will I be able to say it in the perfect Pali accent? Certainly I won't. And I'm always going to be on your side because I'm on all of our side. And you can count on that wholeheartedly. And that'll be till the day I'm not breathing. Right? So we don't mistake that for always right or always says it completely skillfully or right. And of course, we're all learning, growing all the time. And I would include myself in that as well. The most important part of this chapter, then, for me, was in this area of inner and outer teacher. And that I really do value. The outer teacher are the teachings, the Sangha members, the practicing this live in community, in relationship, that it isn't just something we think about, talk about, or practice in a meditation. It's something that must be livable, practicable, And in a community that understands what we're working towards and can do it together, and then can also do it together. That's the beauty of the Sangha. It makes the teachings alive right here, right now, even when we can't do it in a world, because that may not be completely safe. We can do it here with each other. And so those outer teachers' teachings are each of us then, aren't they? As we practice together, commit together, work and study together, can get confused and misunderstand and then see it a little better together. And that is a part of the beautiful um, aspects of these teachings. And as importantly, and maybe the Buddha would say, a notch up is your own inner wisdom. Because something can look good, I think, at times on a surface, can't it? And then with closer examination and or time, I think things can usually shake out, right? Like, something not quite. I'm going to watch for that. I'm going to keep paying attention. Um, I'm going to inquire maybe directly. This is all good. But the inner teacher, I believe, when we learn how to trust it, is an essential part of the path. That we can say, it's okay that I don't quite understand all of this yet. And yet there's something, there were seeds in me. Even when Joko would talk, I will say honestly, I had no idea what she was saying. And I mean zero idea. She'd say, that leg that looks like it there isn't there. And I'd be going, I have no idea what you just said or why you just said it. No concept at all. Well, she was talking about emptiness. I didn't get that at all. It's why I talk about it in a fairly different way than she did, because she'd go, none of it's real. None of it's real. What? I don't even know what you're saying. None of it's real. Looks real, feels real. What? And she was not too prone to explanation, by the way. And yet, I knew it was right somehow. I knew she was saying something, even when I didn't get it, and I trusted her that much. Like, I know you're saying something true, I'm just not getting it yet. And so I was bold enough, probably young and stupid, honestly enough. I was one of the younger members of that Sangha, to ask dumb questions. And she thought they were dumb and would regularly tell me so. She loved that I asked them. And I also felt that. And she'd go, you just keep asking the same old thing. Right? And I'd laugh with her. And then in the long run, what she'd say is, the one who's asking is the one who will know. This was the end of her Dharma talk. Oh, by the way, as much as I'm going, what an idiot over there, the one who's asking is the one who will know, because she's inquiring about why we're not bowing or why we're doing, and all the rest of you are just sitting there, right? And so I got that sense right away that though she found this relatively annoying that she had to say it 50,000 times in 50,000 different ways, no problem. It wasn't a problem, not really. It was a little more playful than I really understood it at the time. And her deep compassion and desire for the end of my suffering, equal to her own, was also very clear to me. That she wanted that for me as much as I want it for you. And that was equal. There was no, I want it, and then if you can follow along, good for you. It was no, the commitment to the path was, I want it for you as well. And so I would say, watch for that. In teaching, we use inner and outer discernments, and we cultivate confidence in both. Like, I can count on this. I may not understand it. I may have to ask 5 more times. I may need to hear it 10 different ways. None of this is the problem. None of this is the problem. Remember, we're all in this together. And it keeps us then, I think, from idealizing a teacher as something other than also human. I don't think it's handy to do so. I think the very first thing to know is that we are all together on this human path, and that some of us understand X or Y or Z, but that moreover, we are sharing a common truth of suffering and the common truth that there is a path to its end. And then we just get to benefit, learn, right, from each other, not just this idea of the teacher. We all become, then, I think, teachers. And don't hold someone above the other. Devotion is not obedience. Boy, somehow we just don't get this right. We keep ending up, I think, in these dangerous places, in these lineages. It does not mean you do it because the teacher asked you to, or because they know more. You have to be active participant. You get to question honestly. I wrote here, you have to listen deeply to your own experience, and then I believe challenge it if it seems misguided or wrong, or and the person who a teacher who could not tolerate it, I would run the other way, because then they are asking for blind devotion, and dangerous now. Now it is by its nature dangerous, so we can't do it that way. Okay? Any questions about this? Discernment, yours and mine, protect us both. And that's the way it should be. My discernment, your discernment, together, we are going to create a safe, beneficial community, as I believe we have done. I'm going to check with chat, and then we're going to get ready to set. This is week 1 of this. We're going to review this next week as we look at the criteria for a qualified teacher. The sexual comment, I laughed. Yeah, I think we have a tendency to do that, don't we? Especially women. I think women know how to take some shit. You know, I don't know how many guys would sit around letting women talk about their body parts. I had somebody walk up to somebody in my own home, by the way, and say, oh, by the way, you've got the biggest pair here. I can't believe it to this day that I literally went, I was, 37 years old, but there's not 1 ounce of me that would tolerate that today. And I just went, and walked away, like, and it was a neighbor. But really, like, no chance, folks, no chance that that's ever going to fly here now. But there I was, young and caught in a culture, I think, in the 80s where that was somehow considered acceptable. And but don't we get to protect each other? And who I abandoned was not just that other woman. I abandoned myself in that. I've set it up now for something like that to potentially happen to me. And then I for sure let it happen to her in a way that no way, no chance. No way, no chance that would happen today. And again, that's just a part of the path and the learning, right? We're all getting there, and it's taking time, and I don't think I'd still get it right. I'd probably be pretty rude today. I might have to work on that. How do you say that and not terrify the guy? I don't know. I might not get that right first. And would I keep working on it? Yes. Dennis, taken my son years to find the truth in his heart, living with his mother. He somehow has found light to realize his light is my light. We need to reflect. Yes, we are teachers then, as parents, I think, Dennis, you're saying, even when we're not in proximity, even when we don't live with someone, even when we don't see them regularly. I don't think that's the mark of the good teacher or guide. I think we're guiding first by our own conduct, right? And then how we form relationship with something like that distance, as an example. And so I have suggested to many, particularly parents who are alienated, that they continue some kind of caring contact. Uh, it would be ridiculous to be doing something every day, right? That would look like harassment, and but that they continue to offer the reflection that I'm here and I care. However, you might do that, and then whether it's rejected or not rejected isn't the point at all. It's really not the point. If they open the door ever, if they never open the door, it's not actually the point. The point is, I am at least walking uh, this path as your spiritual friend. And I think that matters more than having a beer together or, whatever we watching the game together classically think of as a parent-child relationship with adult children. Okay, anything else about this? I'm going to check in. Yeah, everybody gets what I think, Dargy's talking about. Okay, so let's prepare to sit. I'm going to take this off share. I don't think we need, well, actually, maybe we do. Yeah, I'm going to take it off. Sorry. I thinking out loud here doesn't always make things make sense. I apologize. Here we go. All right. So now we're going to get ready to sit. So finding that posture for yourself. And in this posture in particular, we are going to sit with that inner wisdom, a certain inner dignity, a trust in our capacities. We're going to invite and invoke the inner guide, the inner teacher, and one's inner wisdom. And I'm going to let you architecture that a little bit. So we're looking for that stable spine, flexible, sufficiently fluid. We recognize there's movements, actually, don't we, with every breath, that gentle sway. There is nothing hardened, nothing false in the posture. And so watch for that. You deserve the support. Find that for yourself. And I'll strike the bell. As we recollect those special ones, those in need, those we love, igniting our own and their bodhicitta hearts. When we call another, it isn't just us offering them something. They are offering something to us. An opportunity for growing wisdom, compassion, loving kindness, patience. And then may all beings benefit. Letting the body begin to soften with the out-breath, settling the mind into that body, the breathscape. And we're cultivating here a felt sense of the arrival of awareness. First to the body, the first foundation of mindfulness. Knowing the body as the body and knowing something about it. This is already cultivating an essential wisdom in you. And I want to see if you can sense the support of that, this wise one in you. Awake now. Attending now. Present now. And I'd like you to sense the keenness, Keen, the keenness, the fineness of that. It is so vast that it can pick up something as fine as the grain of sand. And as vast as the sky. And look at that capacity. This is your own inner knowing, inner wisdom, inner guide. And I want you to be able to count on it. But we can't count on it if we can't make contact with it, which is the point of our daily practice. We count on it. We go, there it is again, and again, and again. This very light of awareness. And we stabilize the attention for just several breaths in the breathscape or the body or both. See what qualities arise as you sit. Qualities of mind and qualities of heart. And what I noticed right away is the steadiness is easier and easier to get to. And over the many years of my practice, I can easily fall right into it. It has been grooved sufficiently that I can just get here and be easeful in it. What a gift. And then I'd like you to recollect for just a moment all of the moments you have strung together. They say like a pearl on a beautiful necklace. Those single moments that you have then collected to equal this inner wisdom. There are millions. And then let that equal a certain confidence in your own inner guide, your own capacity for clear awareness, and then your commitment to continue to cultivate it towards the good. And just as you can count on that within yourself by virtue of your own aspirations, your own intentions for mindfulness, for compassion, for the Bodhisattva path, we can also then be grateful for all those outer conditions that have contributed to this. And this being a thing that is growing even now. The Sangha, the community of others who walk this path with us, the teacher, myself and others, you, the teacher, and all of it's also students, aren't we? Opening, learning, receptive towards the end of suffering. And reflecting on those outer contributions for a moment, it might be persons, coaches, teachers, parents, grandparents, may embody a being. It may be a deity. The truth really is it's an amalgam, isn't it, of all things? Because each moment is a contribution to wisdom when we are awake. There are the intentioned teachers, and then there are those moments where someone was then just kind, just fully present. Maybe unconditional in their regard. Maybe challenging us to look closer, to stay with a difficulty as a teaching. And I think as a teacher, really reminding ourselves and each other that we have what it takes. We have what it takes to recognize suffering, to commit ourselves to its end, and then to over and over again wake up, cultivate wisdom, kindness, and compassion. Even now, you could feel that gratitude for these infinite opportunities, and then maybe even gratitude for everything. Each is a teacher. And a teaching when we are awake to it. Notice the effect of calling both the inner and the outer guides to mind. And then we begin to notice that one is wholly interconnected with the other. Because you can't recognize the teaching if there isn't something within you that knows a truth. And if you don't know the truth, haven't made some contact with it, you can't see it in its evidence around you. One relying on the other. And we are not striving for wisdom. Wisdom is not a pursuit, it is a consequence of our mindfulness, of our open heartedness, of our commitment to being awake and present breath by breath. It is the fruit. And so we sit like this. Restful, wakeful, loving, and present. And as we rest here, as we are wakeful here, as we commit ourselves again and again here, we make the commitment to this as a daily practice. We can wisely feel the benefits already. And then we take that wisdom and we form both aspirations and intentions with it. Remembering then that this is not only a benefit to you, but an infinite and actually unknowable benefit to the whole of the world. May it contribute to the end of suffering and the propagation of ease, well-being, safety, and growing wisdom in us all. I'm going to go back to the notes for a minute. We're not going to look at week 2, obviously, right now. We'll save that for next week, talking about student responsibility, the lineage, where it's of benefit, where it may not be. And then at the bottom, you will have seen the weekly practice and reflection. And so for week 1, I wrote something very brief. Notice moments when you rely on external guidance and you disconnect from your own wisdom. Pay attention. There is always consequence here. External guidance without your own. It's a dangerous enterprise. Dangerous. One of the biggest mistakes I've ever, well, two of the biggest mistakes I've ever made, it was when I listened to somebody else. And I remember them today. By the way, they were not life-threatening. They were just damaging. They were damaging to me, and they were consequently damaging to others because some part of me knew it wasn't right when I was doing it. I was just going, I don't know what else to do, so I guess I'll do it. And it was the wrong thing. Now, I should have used that very question mark as a guide, and I did not. I went, well, I guess I'll just, and it has consequence because today I still have feelings about that. Those were errors. Those were errors that I made. Observe how discernment functions in your own life, even when you're not recognizing it as wisdom. There is a part of us that will just go, no. Like often our no saying can be a wisdom speaking. Like, not right. Can't do it. It's not going to work for me that way. It doesn't mean that the idea doesn't hold something, but that may not be a way that's right for you. We talked about this as it related to taking skillful bodhisattva actions on Saturday, which means you can't leave you behind just for the idea of what you should be doing. It's harder. You have to go, what am I available to? What is this set of conditions right for? How do I then use that to the good rather than just do the good thing? It's not that simple. What's the good for you, we already know will not be the good for me, and vice versa. It's why we need each other, isn't it? Because I need your good and you need mine, because they come in infinite flavors, faces, and sometimes disguises. Reflect, what qualities do I value in a spiritual guide or friend? What is it that I look for in someone that I want to be safe with, that I want to be able to rely on in this way? What are those qualities? Where did that come from? It's a useful inquiry. So we're going to look at that this week. And then I want to go down here. I put something at the end I added this. I don't know if you guys can see it. Additional resources, week one, the spiritual teacher. I decided that I'm going to include now more this year a little of the sutta from which these ideas have come. Because some of you are interested, number one. I frequently don't quote them, but I think there's some benefit in it as I was reflecting on it. And so this was one of the Kalyanamita um, Sutta, and Bhikkhu Bodhi wrote it, and I loved his translation. It says, a good friend is not one who commands or controls, but one who encourages, guides, and points out the path, always leaving room, I would say, he says, responsibility in the hands of the practitioner. Always leaving responsibility. I like the word room a little bit. Why? Many of you know me well enough for long enough. If I think you're making a critical error, I am going to tell you. I'm going to say, I don't think so. I don't think it's a good idea. Or very definitively, do this. And it's rare that I do it. But when I see clearly that this is going to cause you harm, I'm going to take a definitive action to go stop that or do this to get out of it. And so if you ever hear me say that, just know you're probably in the sways of some significant life moment where we have to act skillfully, decisively, and in our own behalf. And so you will see me do that. Nobody claps, and it's not expected. I don't do it for that reason. Just to like, no, we can't do it this way. This isn't going to work. And then and then I put a little writing about what that means for me. Um, my favorite story, one of my favorite stories is, and then we're going to stop, Ananda talking to the Buddha. And there was just a lovely meeting up on Vulture Peak. And Ananda's saying to the Buddha, that was a really good meeting. That went really well. I would say that the Sangha is at least half of the value of the path. It was really beautiful. And the Buddha says, no, Ananda, no, you are wrong. It is not the half of the path, it is the whole of the path. Because if you can't live this in relationship to each other, there is no path. If it's a closet driven practice, it is not sufficient and not beneficial. And so, this Sangha and its efforts to live this with each other and then in our communities, right, with those in need, is the path. It is not just a nice idea, uh, and not intended to make us feel good, though it can often be a beautiful result. It is designed to go, and then you live that by showing up, by going to the thing, right, so that we know that material things are just one part of it, but that our own showing up and relationship is a part. And then beyond that, that we carry the Dharma with us, which means we are valuing all beings at the minimum, including now our elders, right? We're going to include them because they are one of the most vulnerable populations, and we cannot leave them out. Beautifully, right? So, and then you can take a look at the others. I wrote, I used Sharon Salzberg's concept around faith. She wrote a beautiful book called Faith, by the way, that's where that comes from. And what she says is faith is not blind and it is not passive. It isn't just sure, if that's what they said, that's what I'll do. It doesn't work like that at all. I'll just take a moment here, make sure that we check on any last minute chat questions. We're going to go over this again next week a little because there's just 20 more pages, which is pretty, yeah. Glad that you could use that, Janine. We all need that. You don't just want my words, take my ideas for it. Yes, Dennis. Dennis writes here, I got stung by a bee trying to save it. Yeah, correct. It usually has a consequence. Acting in behalf of something else. It takes something of us. I think you're right. And then that something can be just like that. And I noticed that when that happens, it doesn't hurt quite the same as when I just got stung by the bee, because I remembered the good, my commitment, that equaled uh, why I did it in the first place. And so, yeah, I do think you're not wrong that there is always consequence, by the way, even when we can't feel it like a bee sting. There is consequence, isn't there, in everything we do? A bee sting is just a nice reminder, like, whoo, that one woke me up. But the consequences are far and wide. They're well beyond the finger, all of them. Even those little seed thoughts that you think nobody's noticing. Even when you're not noticing them, you can think, ah, that's just going to come and go. It's not true. There's a sting there too. There's a sting, especially if it's aggressive or if it's got ill will in it or it's impatient or self judging. There's a certain solid sting and consequence in it, and it hurts a lot more from what I've noticed than something on the finger. But a good metaphor. Mm. All right, folks. We're going to be together. I will be sending out today the instructions for Saturday. Saturday is our burning bowl ceremony. Courtney, you won't be here consequently, but if you would like to send me something to burn or aspirations to fly on fly paper, I will happily do that for you. Um, just let me know if you're coming because we are usually crowded for that day, and I want to make sure that we have enough space for everyone. It's a very valuable, I think, very beneficial opportunity to both let go of the things into ash that do not serve us and to let go into spirit, the flying upward into the sky, the things that are going to protect us, that are going to be our aspirations and intentions for this new year. And then Friday, you'll get word about getting on Friday, the first day of our 31 days. I will be doing that one and we will start, the bell will ring at 7:05, just to give everybody a chance to get on. Um, and I look forward to that with all of you.
And
Yes, Greg.
I promise to be on New Year's Day morning.
You do promise to be on. That was not really a problem. It worked out just fine. Greg, you've done this for a lot of years, so I'd say mostly you're a show up guy.
Yeah, I get the percentage there.
You got it. You got the 85 plus.
We
Working
still
for
love
you.
you.
Yeah, yeah. And Greg, is today your actual birthday, or is it tomorrow?
Yesterday was
It
my
was yesterday.
yeah.
So happy birthday to you, Greg. I look forward to a way for us to celebrate that
I'm now officially
somehow.
85 years old.
It's official. Yay. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
My nephew was here and he said, "You're the youngest old man I know."
Yes, I would share that thought.
I thought, okay.
If you saw Greg at the YMCA, you'd say that for sure. Because he's there going. He is not goofing around. All right, guys, let's do the prayer together, please. Calling to mind both that inner and outer guide. And we're talking to one of our guides right now, 85 now plus. Grateful for all the guides in our life and the guide that we are, both in our lives and in others, by our very being. You don't have to get pedantic at all. And then drawing our hands together if that's right for you. And if it isn't, please don't do it, says Joko. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for
Guide for
the
those
path, a boat,
boats
a
as well.
bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are freed from sorrow and all are awakened. Calling our special ones to mind, and then expanding that radiant heart of bodhicitta to all beings everywhere, letting it touch all beings and all things. This is the physics of the loving heart. May we all be happy. May we all be free from pain and suffering. May we be joyful and glad at our good fortune and wish that same good fortune and its blessings on all beings. May we rest and dwell in that vast, open, radiant, and infinite heart and mind, making every encounter an opportunity to make contact with both our inner and outer wisdom and guides. And may we live it this very day. And then may it grow and flourish and never diminish until all beings are awakened and free. Thank you all so much. I asked you to let me know if you were going to be with us on Friday, but I don't think there's any real need for that as I'm thinking about it. I'd rather you show up than tell me you're coming. So just be here on Friday morning. We will ring the bell at 7:05 as we begin our 31 days. Greg will be here on Thursday for New Year's Day. I will be in the garden on Saturday for our burning bowl ceremony, and you will get instructions about that today. All right, everyone. Make this a beautiful day.
Is Friday morning at your place?
Friday morning is not at my place, Dennis. The 31 days of practice, other than Saturday, will be on Zoom. But Saturday practice will be here because we will be writing and burning and making offerings. So hope to see you then, 7:30 on Saturday.
Okay.
Thank you all.